Let me know when I can start.
Good to go.
Good to go. Thank you. Before I open the hearing for the Barnstable Conservation Commission, I would like to ask George to do a roll call for the quorum purpose.
Abadili.
Present.
Foster.
Present.
Gilmore, present. Hearn.
Present.
Lee.
Present.
Sampu is absent at the moment. Tangi. Angela.
Present.
Thank you. Administrator Darcy Carley.
Present.
Staff member Kim Cavanaugh.
Present.
We have a quorum and the floor is yours, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Acting under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and or Chapter 237 of the Code of the Town of Barnstable, the Barnstable Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April the 30th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. for the applications of Stevens McElhaney Family Trust, Amy Duburke, Kevin and Linda Gibson, 294 Superior Road Realty Trust. The hearing is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. The plans and application are on file and may be reviewed by scheduling appointments by sending email requests to Darcy Curley at 230 South Street, Hyannis. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. In accordance with the Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, please let the chair know if anyone is recording this meeting. Hearing none. This evening's hearing agenda is posted on the town's website. On the agenda next to each application is the amount only to the Town of Barnstable for the cost of advertisement. Please send your checks to Conservation Division at 230 South Street before the hearing. Remote participations. The Conservation Commission's public hearing will be held by remote participation as a result of an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed by the Governor on March 29, 2023, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law. Remote public access to this hearing shall be provided in the following manner. The hearing will be televised via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. The real-time public comment can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing the Zoom link 844-6079-2270 or use the toll-free phone number 888-475-4499 as shown on the agenda. Third, the public can also email their comments to darcy.curley@town.barnstable.ma.us at least 8 hours prior to the hearing. For your information, under the continuance tonight, the applicant for the Hyannis Harbor Tour SE3-6176 has requested for a second continuance without testimony to June 4th. Tonight, under the old new business, we have a proposed conservation restrictions for commission's reviews and vote whether to approve as written or edit the following. 1. Lot 1 and 2 conservation restriction portion of 150 and 178 Wheel Road, Marston's Mill. This is a 4.5 acres. And 2. Lot 3 conservation restriction portion of 150 Wheel Road, Marston's Mill. This is a 5-acre area parcel. Presented for this is via Barnstable Land Trust Executive Director Janet Millman. Said restrictions to be reviewed and approved by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. Janet, welcome.
Thank you very much. So I'm back for a second time with this project. You all approved it for Town Council review of the CPC funding last summer, I think. And now we're back with the CRs. We are aiming to close on this project at the end of June. We have and are hoping to get to Town Council on May 16th. So hoping for your approval of the conservation restrictions this evening. Am I able to share my screen? Let me just see. Yes, I believe I am.
Yes. Yep. I sent your name in.
Thank you. So I'll make this quick since you've seen it before. Just as a reminder, this is a total of 9+ acres on Middle Pond in Marston's Mills. And let's see, can't see my screen to actually, there we go. Yeah, so it has been subdivided in order to allow for state grants, both for the town of Barnstable and for Barnstable Land Trust. And therefore, there are 2 CRs that you're reviewing. One CR, lots 1 and 2, are being held by the Compact of Conservation Trust. BLT will own the entire property, but we will give the conservation restriction to the Compact of Conservation Trusts. For Lot 3, just because of the way the state grant funding works, the Wheeler family will sell the conservation restriction to the Compact and the town of Barnstable. And then the land will be deeded to Barnstable Land Trust. It's just a timing. It's for timing reasons and having to do with Chapter 61, which the whole property is in right now. If anyone has questions about that, I can answer them, but I just wanted to explain why one CR is from BLT to the Compact and the other CR is from the Wheeler family to the town of Barnstable and the Compact. You can see how the lots have been subdivided, and what I wanted to show you on this slide was that there is a house on what was lot 2, and that is going to be staff housing for Barnstable Land Trust staff and property caretakers. I also wanted to draw attention to this line here. Just trying to. There will be a public access trail through this property, and it will connect to a trail at Fuller Farm, which is right here, which is owned by Barnstable Land Trust. There will be no parking on the Wheeler property, but there will be parking at Fuller Farm. So the town will be granted an easement by Barnstable Land Trust for public access over Fuller Farm to get to the trail on the Wheeler property. And that is being drafted as we speak and will be done before closing. And then just to zoom in a little bit to show you where typically if you do a conservation restriction on a property with a building on it, then you have something called a special use area where you basically exclude the building from the conservation restriction. And so that's what you'll see in the language. And that's really all that I wanted to draw to your attention. Other than that, it's your typical conservation restriction with most with development uses prohibited and just the trail really as the potential development. So I will stop sharing unless people have questions on the slide.
Thank you, Janet. As part of this CR, usually the process is we have our town attorney, Kate Conley, review the CRs before I schedule it on the agenda. So everything is reviewed. Any question from the commissioner? John?
Hi, Janet. Quick question. Does the conservation, since Wheeler 2, I guess, goes to town of Barnstable, does the conservation division have any maintenance or responsibility for either of these? for the maintenance
definitely.
of these.
The CR that the town is accepting is just for lot 3, and the reason that we asked the compact to co-hold it was so that the town would not have monitoring duties associated with it.
Thank you. And just obviously a continuing concern that I know Darcy has is manpower or lack thereof in terms of the responsibilities, not only for obviously the regulatory work, but all of the maintenance requirements and management of conservation land. So that's the reason for the question. Thank you.
Yeah.
So lot one and 2, as well as lot 3, is either the BLT or the compact will be doing the annual inspection for that.
The compact will be doing the inspection for both of those. As the owner of the property, we cannot also hold the CR or do the monitoring, but the compact is the CR holder for both properties and will take on both monitoring responsibilities.
Correct. Right. Thanks. Louise?
So the delay from our approval last year or a year ago in wrapping this up, is that because of redistribution into lots 1, 2, and 3?
You mean the time it took between the summer and when you saw it the first time?
You had said that we had approved it last summer, so I'm wondering why.
Two reasons. One, it generally takes us a year to do a conservation project at least. And we don't, the conservation restrictions themselves, although we may have had it drafted last summer, are taking months and months and months to get reviewed by the state now. So, I mean, we've had them, we'll come to you with the, or maybe we already did come to you with some others that had been at the state for actually years. So that's the reason for the delay. But we also, we don't want to come to you with the CRs until the state has given us approval for local signatures, which means we can also take it to town council because we want to bring it to you as in close to final as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other question from the commissioner?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to acknowledge that Commissioner Sampu has joined us at 6:40.
Oh, welcome, Peter, from Germany. Could I have a motion to approve the 2 CR as written and authorize the chairs to prepare and submit a support letter to the town council?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Hearn.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Abstain because I just got on.
Tangney.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck,
Thank
Janet.
you. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Tonight we have 2 RDAs. The first one is Stephen McLean, the Family Trust upgrade failed cesspool systems at 14 Clamshell Point Lane, contoured as shown at Assessors Map 006, parcel 007. Darren?
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Darren Meyer here, representing the owners, McElhaney Family Trust at 14 Clamshell Point Lane in Katuitt. What we have is a simple septic upgrade of a failed cesspool, and we are within the buffer zone of Coastal Bank and also Coastal Beach. Let me pop the plan open. Yeah, there we go.
Nope.
Can you guys see the?
Yeah.
Can you see the plan? Okay.
Yeah, we see the plan now.
Okay. So based on the plumbing of the existing house, which can't be changed because of the layout of the house, it comes out in the back right corner here. and we can't move it to come out the front. And it's very low. So what we have to do is hand dig a pipe from the outlet to where the proposed tank is. The reason I placed the tank there was if we went any further away from the top of Coastal Bank, it would actually put it much deeper in the ground, further than what's allowed by code. So what we proposed is a tank pump system and then pumping the leaching over past the 100-foot buffer to that coastal bank. We provided a work limit line with mitigation measures of, silt fence, straw wattle, staked every 5 feet so that we can eliminate any runoff or movement of material. The grading will be put back exactly as it is. There's no change in grade. There'll be some minimal removal of some low-lying brush where the tank and pump chamber will go. It's nothing significant and shouldn't do any significant root damage and can be restored with loam and seed afterwards. The leaching itself is in a wooded area, but it is outside the 100-foot to that coastal bank. As far as the cesspool goes, we're going to pump that down and fill that in and restore that grade to original grade there. That's pretty much it. The property itself is, about 65,000 square feet. It is in, hold on 1 second. It is in a flood zone, but this area is an X. The elevation 12 is the flood zone, so it's much lower on the bank. Otherwise, happy to answer any questions regarding this.
Thank you, Darren. This application also went to the Board of Health and was approved last Tuesday afternoon, sorry. Question from the commissioner? None? Any public comment, Channel 18?
Seeing none.
Could I have a motion to approve this project as a negative determination?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Sampu,
Aye.
Dangy,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Lee,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
that's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck, Darren.
Thank you.
The second idea is Amy Dubuc proposed installation of a 6-foot tall stockade fence and planting of 3 cedar trees along the eastern perimeter of the property and planting of 3 cedar trees at 113 Hayes Road, Centerville, as shown on the Assessors Map 210, Parcel 094. It is supposed to be Paul, but I don't see Paul. Oh, Paul, is here.
Hey, Tom.
Welcome.
Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Yes, please.
My name is Paul Mancuso. I am a wetland scientist with the BSC group. Here on behalf of the applicant for the proposed project at 113 Hayes Road in Centerville. So the project is fairly simple. They're just proposing to install a 6-foot tall stockade fence along the eastern perimeter of their property here. The house borders on Lake Wequacket here, so the resource areas on site are, there's a thin strip of BVW along Lake Wequacket, so we have the 50-foot buffer to BVW and 50-foot buffer to land underwater at Lake Wequacket, and we have the 100-foot buffer lines out here. So portions of the fence are in the buffer zone. The WPA does list fences as a minor exemption, providing that they do not constitute a barrier to wildlife movement. The applicant has proposed to have the last 50 feet of the fence here elevated 18 inches off of the ground to allow for animals to move from one side to the other to not block their movement. And so additionally, they will be planting here, that's shown right here with these little stars, 4 cedar trees also along the property line, just to provide a visual buffer from the neighboring property. That's essentially it. If the commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any question from the commissioner? Louise?
I'm supportive of the proposal, but I noticed from the drawing, you just have beach written down there, and we're sensitive to sandy areas that are being added along the edge of our resource areas. So I'm wondering if it would be worthwhile really specifically saying where that beach ends on the upland side in your drawing to have that on file.
Okay, yeah, I can check with the engineer. It may be this polygon here, but I can check. I think that may be the
Is
area,
that what that is?
I believe so.
Oh,
If
okay, well,
we pull up, yeah, I mean, that kind of matches what you see on the aerial here.
you might want to have an arrow to that border if that's it, or
Yeah,
pass it
I'll
over
check with
to-
Kieran and make sure on that because like I said, I can't say for sure, but I believe that might be it. But we can definitely double check on that, and then if not, we can definitely show the existing perimeter of that beach so that they don't expand it over time, if that's what you're worried about.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Tom, can I just
Yeah.
state something? We're not going to be able, this is a simple RDA application
Oh.
and we cannot revise the plan. The beach shouldn't be any part of this discussion right now. So
Okay,
um,
thank you.
we don't want to have a revised plan submitted. We just want to move forward. This could come in as just the homeowner doing the application. So it's nice that they did an engineering plan, but it doesn't mean that we're accepting
Anything on it.
anything else. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Pete?
Yes, so for clarity, and Louise, I had the same concern, just because it is on this plan doesn't mean that if we accept this fence, that it becomes accepted beach area, correct?
Correct.
Well,
We could make an,
the application in front of us is only the stockade fence and the trees. That's it.
Right, so just because something is on a plan that we okay doesn't mean that we okay everything on that plan.
Correct.
correct.
Got it.
And
Okay, so
we could,
my actual question, another question is, we do have jurisdiction within the 100 feet. And I'm wondering, my question to the applicant's agent is, how come you don't have 18 inches under that, the full length of that fence? Because I'm sure, given the proximity to an awful lot of shoreline, that this is likely an area used by reptiles coming up to lay eggs. I suspect it is of high habitat value for animals that are using the shoreline habitat. So why not 100 feet? Help me understand.
I mean, I have not discussed that with the applicant, but I would believe, I mean, from here on the house, they have more of a view of the neighbors here. So not having the elevated fence here gives them a little more privacy. Down here, you're coming down the contours, you're a little lower in elevation. So
Okay.
that doesn't really provide a view between the properties.
So maybe I'm a little confused. I thought that my concern was the 18 inches underneath the fence to allow passage of animals of all kinds. I don't so much care about the height of it. That's the applicant's choice. But our concern is for the free motion of animals using this habitat. And that 18 inches at the bottom is pretty valuable for that ability for animals to move. And so why don't you have the 18 inches underneath along that whole 100-foot section? That's my question.
Yeah, I guess we were just thinking that the 50 feet down here provided sufficient pathway, and it wasn't necessary the entire length of the fence. But
Pete, let me mention this. I think in the past we have allowed for the 6 inch instead of 18 inches in the first 50 foot.
yeah, it's 6 inches.
And now the applicant has kind of proposed the 18, which is quite generous. And for the 50, I think that is a pretty generous offer at this point. So
I would agree with that, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
any other question from the commissioner?
I'd like to say something if I could.
Sure, Bill.
Yeah, Pete, you bring up a good point. There's a very controversial wildlife fence that we dealt with maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And we were talking about having, I want to say an 18-inch clearance underneath. And the applicant ultimately put a fence just like this, and it was very tall. Instead of being, I want to say 6 feet high, it was, say, 7.5 feet high. And in that particular case, deer passage, I thought might be impacted. And y'all might remember that that particular project, which I think was appealed by who knows who, we said, well, it was a decision of the DEP, so let's let them handle it. That was where deer passage was a potential issue. We liked the 18, but I personally didn't like the fact that they jacked it up. In this particular project, I don't know that deer jumping over the fence is an issue. So if it's a bit higher, what the heck? I mean, you follow me? I don't know that having it higher makes a difference. It did in the other case, but I'm not feeling that it does in this case.
What is the height of the fence?
6 feet.
6 feet.
Yeah. Which is pretty standard, I think, right, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that they're jacking it up. Would they have it 6 inch? Would it be a 6 inch clearance? Where are they providing passage of 6 inches in the rest of the area?
18 on the first 50 foot.
And then nothing. So they're not having any passage elsewhere.
Correct.
It's a relative, but that's also a relatively short section. It's not like what the heck, it was like 1,800 or 2,000 foot long on the other one. Anyway, thank you.
Okay. Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
Could I have a motion to approve this project as a negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Stangy,
Aye.
Sampu,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck, Paul.
Thank you very much.
We have 2 NOIs. The first one is Kevin and Linda Gibson's to construct a plus or minus 400 square feet accessory structures at 89 Superior Road, Austinville, as shown on the Assessors Map 070, parcel 009-011. John.
Good evening, everyone. John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting. I'm here this evening representing the Gibsons. I'll work on pulling up the plan for you all. This is a little over a 2-acre parcel on Oyster Harbors, just offset in a little bit from the Sepuit River. It was developed around 2019 under an order of conditions. We have some coastal resources to the south with an area of salt marsh, some dunes as they stretch. That salt marsh stretches pretty far out towards the river, off of our property. To our east is an area of isolated wetland. Our project is really kind of within the buffer zone to that isolated wetland. We have a small accessory structure proposed here. It is approximately 72 feet from that isolated wetland. We have a 50-foot undisturbed buffer around the property, which is going to remain. We've called for a limit of work to be set up to ensure that we're protecting that 50-foot buffer, some drainage for any roof runoff. I hope you'll find this to be a pretty straightforward project, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, John. Luis?
What's the purpose? How is this structure going to be used?
So the structure is going to be sort of split purpose. I think somewhere around half to 3/4 of the 400 square feet is going to be like home office. No bathroom in it, no running water within it. But the family has just found, kind of in the post-COVID world, after this house was built, that there is no office space where they can get away from each other and the kids and the dogs and run businesses and things like that. There is also going to be a room in this that has a cold plunge, so cool. I don't know, you know, a cold tub, I guess is what maybe
A
it's
what?
cold tub, ice bath.
Really? Interesting. All right, thank you. Well, let me see, you probably need drainage for that, right? It's probably not a very big amount of water, however, but
I would think that the drainage structure that we had proposed for the roof runoff could be, you know, it could be connected to that if it needed to be. And, you know, it is sort of like a crawl out on this side of the building, and that's where any of those mechanicals for that tub would be. And so it's probably right within 10 feet of where we showed the drain anyway.
yeah, so you might want to look into it and maybe consider it.
Thank you, Louise. John, since you're kind of explaining what you're planning to use the structure for, but do you need electricity to run the power line a cable into the building?
There will be power run from the house across here somehow. Yes.
Okay.
It'll probably be underground, right?
It would be underground.
It will be underground. So, you know, I think you can this is a straightforward, but I think you should show the cable run into the accessory structure on the plan. That's all. The minor thing.
We could do that.
Yeah. John.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question as Louise, so thanks, Louise. The other thing, when I walked the property, that you know, the whole undisturbed buffer, and especially where this accessory is going, is extremely well vegetated. I wouldn't see any problems at all with this.
Glad to hear.
Any other question from the commissioner? 10:18, any public comment on this?
Seeing none.
Could I have a motion to approve this project subject to receipt of a revised plan showing the electrical cable to the accessory structure?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Sampu,
Aye.
Tangney,
Aye.
Foster,
All right.
Gilmore, aye. Lee,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
that's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck, John. The next NOI is 294 Superior Road Realty Trust to construct a driveway at 294 Superior Road, Barnstable, as shown on the assessor's map 095 parcel 011. John?
Good evening, John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting again. I'm representing the applicants on this project on Superior Road. I'm going to pull up the plan for you all. This is approximately a 3-acre parcel of land. There's an isolated wetland kind of to the northeast corner of this property, mostly off-site, but we do have buffer zones that extend onto it. Areas beyond conservation's jurisdiction are currently being developed. The project that's before you is requesting to have a driveway kind of wrapping around the back of the property. It would be about 70 feet at its closest point to the isolated wetland. A 50-foot buffer undisturbed is going to remain. Have a work limit proposed along there. It has been staked, and we have drainage proposed for the driveway heading away from that wetland area. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, John. Questions, John?
John, on the drawing, it looks like there's two dry wells or driveway drainage. Is that right? Is that second one at the bottom there also a drainage?
Yes, we actually have
Three.
another one even further away heading towards the road outside of jurisdiction, but yes, we do have multiple drainage structures along there. We've got about 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have 5 French drains across it proposed to just kind of gather that water just as it's moving down there without flowing too far.
Good move. And what is the driveway surface? Just out of curiosity, it's on I didn't see it somewhere anywhere.
It's gone back and forth with the applicants. I think that they would like to see it be gravel or stone. I have some concerns about, you know, the steepness of it and the wear and tear on that stone. And that's why I think that we ensured having the drainage in case it did end up getting paved.
As somebody who has a so-called gravel driveway with no drainage, after 20 years, it's as hard as cement. So I kind of favor asphalt where you put in these drainage like that for myself, at least.
Agree with you, John. Louise?
So is this facility going to be for horses? Or what is the structure going to be used for? I know we're not approving that structure. But I'm wondering about the sanctity of the 50-foot buffer is all.
So there is nothing proposed at all within the 50-foot buffer. No animals, no nothing. I think that the applicant representative is on the call too. There are some animals envisioned being on the site. I don't think that there's specifically anything as big as a horse immediately planned. I think that there's maybe plans for a couple of goats that would be kind of in a fenced area, more landward of the driveway, if anything.
Okay, well, I'm just thinking, would we want to have a fence along the 50-foot buffer to protect that? I mean, with goats, depending on how well contained they are, you probably want to have them munching on the 50-foot buffer, right?
I think that's fine. I think that there would be actually like a corral in a fence, a complete fence enclosure landward of the driveway that would be containing them. But if we wanted some kind of demarcation or secondary fencing along the 50-foot buffer, I don't think that would be a concern either.
I think that would be a good idea, given what it sounds like the property is going to be used for.
I think it sounds like the demarcations is necessary. Darcy, what do you think?
I'm fine with that idea. And I did have one question along the 50-foot buffer, if you don't mind me asking while I'm talking right now. An engineering question as far as the grading lines and how close, as far as the kind of change in an angle, and you're bringing them right up against the hay bales. Is there any concern about when that is bare soil that the hay bale line holding it, or is there any need for a small retaining wall there? It just seems like you have a lot coming right up to the very edge of those hay bales. Grading change.
I'll try to zoom in a little bit further so we can get a better sense. So, you know, for example, I don't think that the grade, I think that we're grabbing a hold of the existing contours. It doesn't look to me like the grade is changing by more than a foot along there. Like I'm tracing the 13 contour back and it's hitting the 12. I don't see it as being a problem, and I think the intention is to kind of get this revegetated as quickly as possible. I don't know.
You might want to put some kind of a condition that That's
be
really
monitored-
watch
be
during
monitored
rainy
until-
season or something.
I don't think there'd be any problem with it being monitored until it's stabilized, limit of work monitored.
Because of the steep slope, you may need some maybe gin netting or something to hold it, the seeds before, because it will take a while for the seeds to grow, germinate for the grass, for that slope.
And I know sometimes that we allow wattles instead of the hay bale and
Yeah.
siltation fencing, but I think this time we really want to have a condition that they make sure that that it has both wattles and siltation fencing, or double road hay bales staked in and siltation fencing, because you're kind of bringing it right up to the edge of that.
Right. Pete?
Yeah, my concern about that potential erosion worries on that steep face has been voiced by others, and I'm in complete agreement that erosion control has to be really strong here. And whether, again, that's the jute down on the ground. What percent grade is this, John, that we're looking at the steepest part?
I can open it up to 100% confirm that for you. I think it's around a 3-to-1 slope.
Okay, that's a pretty steep slope. I'm going to concur with everyone who said you have potential real serious erosion problems if you get a heavy rain before this vegetates.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is a big concern for us here on the commission. So again, many of us have expressed that concern. And while, again, this is in our jurisdiction and buffer, we can't afford something to go wrong here. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Bill?
I'm not sure about precedent. I've not come across this problem yet. I support Louise's concern about the protecting the 0 to 50 foot buffer from grazing animals. And we're hearing that, yeah, there will be goats there, and well, maybe they'll be fenced. And I'm thinking, well, here you've got this slope, here you've got this 0 to 50, and I'm thinking, well, I heard you, Tom, say, well, we could have a demarcation line. Well, I'm very familiar with a few stones or a little tiny, fence of some kind that a goat could go through. And I'm just wondering, I don't know. Should we not be better protecting the 0 to 50 from grazing animals?
I think, let me.
John, you had the hand raised.
Yeah, thank you, John. I think in response to kind of Bill's thing, John said he thought there was going to be fenced-in areas where these animals will be kept. I'm wondering if somebody could confirm that, John. If it is, then I'm happy without the fence, just the demarcation. But otherwise, I think Bill raises a legitimate concern.
I think that we can confirm that any animals will be fully fenced and on the landward side of the driveway, but also, as I said, the applicant's representative is here, Alicia Fix, and she's happy to further confirm that if it.
Right. Well, if she can confirm that, I think that would be helpful.
I don't know when to speak, so I'm not always at these, so if it's not my turn yet. I think I've met some
I'm
of you.
going to you next, so go ahead.
Am I next? Okay. So I think I've met most of you before on previous calls, but so this area, there's neighbors that drive through that front Sepuit Road. It's not like this is a lot of land that is private. We want to have the goats, as John puts out. We're going to hopefully have them save some costs and nibble on our grass, and be a cute addition to the neighborhood. But we also don't want to harm them. So we're trying to figure out what the plan will be to have it fenced, but it's not. The animals will always be in fenced areas for their own protection. So it's not something that they're going to be free range and all over. And we also, want to make sure that they're managed, because I'm learning a lot about goats now, but you have to move them in sections or they just tear up an area. So you have to move them, if they're in the front corner, then the next day they need to be moved over on the side. And there's ways to manage them within fencing. So that's what we're kind of putting up together, but there will be fencing on that area that's not in the conservation area. So they will always be contained, because for their own protection and for the management of where we want them to feed, we need to be moving them around.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So if that is the case, so I'm thinking of two things. Number one, if we put a condition of no animal like sheep on the wetland side of the 50-foot buffer, is that an acceptable thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
But because you are keeping the sheep on the landward side of the driveway.
Sure.
Right. Because most of the land area is outside of our jurisdictions.
Yeah, that's, I understand you can't say anything about it, but again, it's just where we're going to have them placed, because this is in a neighborhood, so they will be fenced in.
I think there would be no issue with a condition about no animals in the 50-foot buffer.
Okay, thanks. Angela?
So, can you hear me? Thank you, Tom. So the proposed path that doesn't quite make it to the right of way is not for goats or animals. Do you see the path that kind of just disappears in the area that Darcy was talking about?
There was pre any development, there was a pathway that leads there, and it probably, if you really wanted to whack your way through the woods, eventually connects out to, probably historically connected out to, there's a way on the north side of the property that then leads all along the back of the other properties and out to Oakdale Road, I think. But that is not to be an animal trail or anything like that.
Because I just was curious how the pathway just ends within the 50 and then it doesn't connect to the right of way. So do you need that pathway?
I don't think we need it for anything.
I just was curious. Thank you.
John, if you don't need it, do you want to remove it from the plan?
We can turn that off as it's, probably outside of the 100-foot buffer. It's gone now anyway, so we can just turn that layer off.
Okay. Any other question from the commissioner?
I would just like to get back to what the expectation is for the limit of work. If we want it to be a double row, whatever we need to be putting onto the plan and or in conditions, we're happy to do. I just want to make sure that we don't lose track of that.
That was Darcy's idea. Darcy, can you elaborate on what you think they need to prevent destabilization?
Yeah, I would say double row, hay bales, trenched in siltation fencing, and then I would say that they need to go out and walk it after like a heavy rain event, maybe like an inch rain event or something.
And they ought to probably have a jute blanket cover that they're planting through.
A jute netting for the grass when they grow.
Yeah.
I think we could do like, if we did like a 10-foot swath of that around here, I think that would probably cover the steepest part of it and make sure that we're getting that established. And we can certainly change this to a double and specify trenched in silt fencing. And just so we and the contractors know, Darcy, in your opinion, if it is double row and it's trenched in, does it matter to you whether it's hay bales or the wattles, or is one of them preferable in this situation?
If you're using the wattles, I think you'd have to at least use like the 8-inch or 12-inch.
I think that's what your standard condition is anyway. So
Yep.
the material of the bales will just still be the standard condition, but we'll make sure that it's double row specified on the plan and trenched in.
Yep.
And a 10-foot band of jute netting.
Okay. 10:18, any public comment on this?
Seeing none.
None. Could I have a motion to approve this project subject to the following? One, no animal in the 50-foot buffer, and second, on the erosion control, you need a double road hail bale or the 8 inches. So hail bale, and then with the trench in, and then with a 10-foot jute netting for the 10-foot area.
Tom?
Yes.
Can I suggest adding to that, and that the applicant would require periodic monitoring just during construction of that bank to ensure its stabilization?
Sure.
Do you think you need that?
Yep. So I make that motion, and then John make that amendment on that one.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Evidently.
Go ahead. What was the first? I mean, the reason that I forgot to ask, we don't have the DEP number.
Oh.
We can approve it, but subject to the DEP issuing of the DEP number. Okay.
John, you don't have it?
Hey, John.
I didn't even think to look.
Last time I checked, I don't have a DEP number. So
Yeah, I checked earlier today. It had not been issued.
Okay.
So you're gonna modify the motion to approve this with a continuance for the DEP number, Tom?
right. So John, if I do a continuance to May the 7th, is that okay?
Is there any way that we could, I don't know. I don't know. Is there any way that we could get that before then?
No, we have to wait for the DEP number. Without the DEP number, we cannot issue any order.
Okay.
Okay.
John, do you have it in your file somewhere, or could I look for it somewhere?
No,
No,
this is
it
from a
hasn't been
DEP.
done.
You apply for the application to the DEP. DEP has to issue a number for the file. Without that file number, we cannot issue the permit.
Okay, got it.
We can approve the project, but it has to be continued until we get the number.
Correct.
We will follow up with DEP to make sure that that's issued before the 7th, hopefully.
Okay. So could I make the motion, and then John make the amendment, and then I ask that if this project should be, if it is approved, then we'll be waiting for the continuance until the May 7th, waiting for the issuance of the DEP number.
So moved.
So moved. All right, second to,
Roll call.
Evidently.
yes, aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Tangny.
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck,
Thank
John.
you.
Thank you.
I will skip the certificate of compliance first, and then they'll go to the continuance. The first one is Hyannis Harbor Tour Inc. to permit emergency dredging and future maintenance dredging at 220 Ocean Street, Hyannis, Massachusetts, as shown on the assessors map 326 parcel 069070 and 071-001. This is a continuance from April the 16th. And the applicant has requested for a second continuance without testimony. Could I have a motions to approve this to application for a continuance without testimony to June 4th.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call.
Evidently.
aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Tangny.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Byrne,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you. The
Chairman
second-
Lee, Chairman Lee, can I ask a question? So on the 16th of April, I was not present, but this application was not opened. It was immediately continued without testimony.
That's correct.
So
There's
I
been
am,
no
so I am
testimony.
still on the quorum for that then, correct?
Correct.
Everyone, yes.
Thank you.
For the second continuance is Live Left London construct of its 6 by 18.3 house additions, a 5.3 by 11.9 deck addition, pond access stair, removal of 1 trees and mitigation planting at 21 Scottsdale Road, Centerville, as long as Assessors Map 229, parcel 064. This is a continuance from April the 16th. The quorum is everyone except John and Pete.
That's correct.
Ali?
Good evening. Arlene Wilson, AM Wilson Associates here for the Levens. I'm going to do it too. At the first hearing, the commission requested that we relocate the mitigation. And let's see if I can get my screen up here.
Now you're trained. You can handle this.
We have to keep the meetings close together so I don't forget in the interim, Tom. So you may recall that originally the mitigation was in two parcels, one on each property line up to the 50-foot buffer. And we had mitigation running along the stairs to ensure that there wouldn't be drainage and erosion problems. The mitigation has been relocated along the pond shore edge here. And I think there, it's probably a little easier to see on this one. So this is the new mitigation. And we've shown some intermittent stones at the edge. We've stopped at the big spruce tree because we've got about 120 square feet more mitigation than we need with this plan. And I thought the spruce tree would be an easy marker for the future so that everybody would be able to tell where the mitigation is supposed to be. We've continued to show the 2 replacement trees up close to the 50-foot line. They're going to need much bigger holes to put the root balls in, and that area is flatter. So I think it will be easier for the installation to ensure that there won't be a problem digging those holes. I also understand that the commission was having some trouble with the design of the stairs. And so the architect has provided a couple of cross sections and an aerial view of the landing so that you can see what the intent is now, which is to have solid risers and some cobble edging along the landings to hold the gravel surface that will be in the landing pad itself. The design has some filter fabric, and the idea is that the landings will be self-draining. The applicant prefers to have stone or masonry as the edging rather than wood, partly because it's longer lasting and a more natural material, since the wood that usually is used for these box type stairs has some preservative treatment in it. So my understanding from our discussions originally was that there really wasn't much of a problem with the addition itself. or the section of the stairs that come off the deck addition, which are above grade. And I'd be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Arlene, for the revised plan. The date on the revised plan is April the 23rd. There is no date on the detail of the stairway stairs. There's April 29th, sorry. So there's a date. So
yeah.
Questions, Bill?
Yeah, I'm really happy with the location of the mitigation plantings. The only question or concern I have is, will that landward edge be delineated with something so that we will not have mowing or, intrusion into that, and so that it'll just grow up wild?
So we're showing, 12-inch diameter rocks running along that edge. That's one of the alternatives that is generally approvable by the commission.
Okay, thank you.
There's some stone, it marked as a stone marker. So is that demarcations?
Good. Okay.
George?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, and thanks, Arlene, for the detail on the stairs. There's plenty of drainage there. I normally wouldn't be in favor of masonry stairs, but all kinds of drainage really looks good. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Any other comment from the commissioner? Channel 18, any public comment on this?
Seeing none.
Could I have a motion to approve this project with the revised plan date April the 23rd and the detail on April the 29th?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Foster,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Tangney.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
We have one EC certificate of compliance, Ram and Angelina Cutini, SE3-5364. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Tangney,
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Our next hearing is at 3 o'clock on May the 7th. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gilmore, aye. Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Tangney,
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:30.